All right. So today we are going to do a credit card holder. And I'm hoping everybody can hear me okay. Uh, Sorry, folks. Okay, we'll just get on with it and hopefully everything goes okay. So, as I said, we're going to do a credit card holder. And this is walnut on the outside. And I'm going to go ahead and hide my screen and go over here to where you can see what I'm doing. And gentleman that's getting this is a big four-wheeler. So we're going to see if we can make this image look decent on a credit card holder. I don't know what it's going to come out like. This is going to be something interesting. So we're going to go ahead and just give it a try. Um, One of the things that I would suggest is right now I've got my speed set at 500 and I'm really hitting hard layers, but that was on cedar. So this is walnut, which means that it's a little bit harder. I am going to bring my frequency up to, let's see. Let's go ahead and bring it to 75. And I'm going to drop my speed down a little bit. This is a smaller image, so I can do that. But I want a darker burn. So I'm going to bring it down to 300. And my LPI is still set at 1500. And let's see what happens. All right, let's frame this out. We're good on the framing. Let's give her a whirl. Hey, Soda, what's going on, brother? So, yeah, now that you've jumped in here, I'll go ahead and go back over to my settings and kind of show you where I'm at while this is engraving. So I can go ahead and close this screen, this part of the screen here. It's not going to hurt anything. To be honest with you, this is the most detailed tracing that I've ever done to try to transmit over onto wood. I have no clue what it's going to look like when it gets done. That's walnut that it's running on right now, so this is kind of a test. One of the things that you want to look at in UV laser, or remember in UV laser, is that a UV laser, you can't adjust power. You have to basically use your speed and your frequency and your LPI, lines per inch, as a means of setting up how much heat is going to be in that area. So I've jumped my LPI up to 1500 and I've dropped my speed down to 300. Again, I'm experimenting a little bit. And to me, that's the neat thing about lasers. I love to explore and see what's going to happen. One of the things that you've got to remember on a UV laser, and it's a fact about all of these lasers like this, you can get the settings from one person and set them up exactly in yours, and they can be even the same machines, but it's going to run different. I do not know why, but it does do it. Man, I love the smell of wood. So I've jumped my frequency up, and I can always drop it down and run another pass. But I like to basically run a light pass first. So the higher your frequency, the less impact it's going to have on the material. With the UV laser and with the 5-watt laser, your hottest is a 45 frequency and your Q pulse at 1. And then depending on what you set up your lines per inch, it can really deep engrave on wood and leather. Usually for general material, I'm running about 1,000, and then I'm running my speed at 1,000. But I've jumped this up just simply because I'm trying to get a decent engraving. And the results are so far looking really good. Yeah, so when they first came out with Lightburn, there were adjustments in there for power, but for what? I really don't understand why. It has something to do with the way it affects the power or the laser source, trying to adjust the power. So they took it out. And it's the same thing is true with EasyCAD. You can't adjust the power. Now, the biggest impact on that is trying to do true pictures. You have to kind of learn how to use those other settings to be able to do a picture. I wish my focus was better. It is. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Oh. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, let's kick ass. That really did turn out really well. Here, let me put you on the other camera. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Okay. So that's not too bad. Not bad at all. I wonder what I should do on the backside. What do you think? What do we do on the backside of this thing? I'm gonna send you a few of these things. It's pretty cool though. You drop the card in there, and you just pull this little tab. pops it out. And if you got a stack of cards in there, it staggers them. How it does it, I don't know, but it does. Oh, let's see. What can we find in images? Let's look over here. I think it can hold like 10. 10 cards. Here they are. Whoops. Okay. Well, I did figure out when I did this journal that UV will actually blow through the wood completely. So it's possible to completely blow through the veneer and get to the aluminum background, and that might look pretty cool. But it need to be an image a little more open than the one that I've selected. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I cheat like hell. I get online and start looking for stuff. Or put something on there like "Don't come a knocking that the Jeep is rocking." That sounds pretty good. You know what? I actually think I'm going to. I like that. EN or IN? Nah. 351. I think that's a little too wide. I know it is. So it's 2 inches wide. And let's lock this in and change this to 2. There we go. What do you think? Don't come a knocking that the truck is rocking. So what I do with mine on my UV laser, the nice thing about the UV laser is your power source or your laser source is actually on the tower itself. So you can, the only plug or the only wire that's on this system that you can't easily unplug is the laser dot. And it's just two wires of a black and a red. So what I did is actually cut that wire and spliced it so that, or not spliced it, but put ends on it so that I can unplug everything, take my tower and load it in the truck, take my power source, the box, and load it separately. The tower weighs about 30 pounds with that laser source on it. And power supply box, hell, it don't weigh at the most 20 pounds. That way you don't have to worry about them all being connected. Yeah, my fiber laser, I cuss that thing more than you can know every time I try to load it up. I've looked at the X tool and it's really caught my attention because it's so small. But it's set up for little small jewelry, and I don't think it would work really well for trying to, do any kind of serious production. I have taken this UV laser to 5 different shows now, and work leather and everything. And a lot of times, what I could do for leather hats, I could run a batch of 6 patches and cut all my patches out all at one time. Whereas, that little X tool they were showing, that's a one piece time. And it is, if I understand correctly, it's a fiber laser, a miniature fiber laser. So that pretty much eliminates all of your soft product like this stuff. I know people use it on leatherette, and they've tried to do it on wood and everything, and they judge the frequency and all that. But you're never going to get the results that you can with the UV laser. So the biggest thing that you have to worry about transporting the UV laser to a show is one thing to put Loctite on the nuts or on the screws that attaches the laser source to the tower, because the vibrations can back them off sometimes. And keep your lens covered. And the only other thing that I've ran into is in one of the shows, it was late or early fall. So it was still pretty warm outside, like 90 degrees outside around here. And I didn't bring my air conditioner with me, so it was running in that temperature. And then whenever I had the doors open on my trailer, it let the sun come in and it was actually shining on the laser source itself. And it was the only time that I've ever gotten an overheat warning. It will start beeping at you and telling you it's got too hot. Venting. I have I went to Lowe's and got the exhaust tube that they use with the portable air conditioners, and I just had it vented out the trailer down onto the ground. Now, the shows that I go to is like dog competitions and stuff like that. I'm not inside of a building, I'm outside. And the people that I deal with, they're not the little, I don't know how to say this, but they've been around a bit, and part of the shows that I go to is hog baying championships, and others are hunting dogs. So a little bit of smoke, burning leather, or something like that isn't going to bother them. Whereas, other people that they might be a little bit offended. But honestly, for me, leather and wood isn't something that's super offensive. Now, leather's a little bit more offensive to some people. I hear a lot of them say that it smells like burning hair. But wood, most of the time, you know, everybody loves a campfire. So as long as it's not in the trailer itself, there's not a lot of people going to say anything. And then whenever you're doing metal, there isn't any really real smell. You're going to have the ozone kind of smell out of it, but it's not going to be something that's easily transmitted outside that people are going to notice. Let's do these letters here. Now, I don't know about you, but my font files are outrageous. I'll show you here. So and the reality is this isn't all of them. That's some that I like right here, that royal signage. Actually, I may select that. So you know the difference between bounds, hull, and contour, right? All right. Didn't you say I can't remember if you ever said that you had a fiber laser or not. Did you ever have a fiber laser? Okay. All right. So, bounds is basically, okay. Yeah, I thought so, but I wasn't sure. And you know about the trick with the button over here, right? So you can come over here and you select that button, it changes between millimeter and inches. I didn't know about that one here until just a little bit ago. Oh, let me square this out and see what she looks like. I might have to bring that down a little bit. Close it in some. I think that's what I'll do. There's actually a hotkey somewhere in here that lets you control some other stuff. But while you're in the frame, you can also adjust that frame. A lot of people didn't know that, but if you press your up and down buttons on your keyboard, you can actually move that image up and down without getting out of your framing. But what I need to do here is I need to close this in some. So we're gonna, oops, I don't want the H space, I want the V space. Let's frame that up. Yeah, that's a lot better. Let me center it in just a little bit more. Oh. My sister-in-law is probably going to kick my ass for this remark, but anyway. You know what? I'll get out of that. Changing the frequency back to 45. And set it that. Let's change this to 1200. Set that to 0. The Q pulse is the one that really throws me off sometimes. So at 1, that is the highest or hottest rating on the laser. And reality is, if you go up to like a 5 or 6, you're really cutting the power down. Now, one of the biggest things about having an exhaust, let's see, what'd you say? I wish the contour would just highlight everything at once. Well, yeah, you can actually do that. I'll show you a trick once this is run through. Let's see how dark it is. Oh. That's actually not too bad, but I'm gonna go ahead and run another run on it and cross too, and do a crosshatch. Okay, so if you frame and haul, you can select. Well, no, that one doesn't do it either. Thought I had a way of being able to do where it just does the outside shapes only. And, but this time I'm not able to do it. Yeah, it can get a little hard to see that, but if you do select the hull, you know, it gives you the, just that you can tell it to do for the outside shape. And you can also actually tell it to frame individually. So it's going to do is where each letter is coming out. But I'm going to change my laser settings, just cuts and layers. I want to see if I can make that a little bit darker. Take this down to 200. I do love that smell though. A lot of people don't, but I love that wood smell. Yeah, that's burning quite a bit more. When you get down into your speed of 100 to 300, you can really put in a dark mark, but it takes you to go down into that speed line. Anything faster than that, you're doing in soft material anyway. You're doing more of a blading. But what I was going to say about that exhaust is, as you can see, every once in a while, you'll see how that laser line kind of flashes. That's because that smoke is getting in between the beam and the material. And it will affect how well that beam is doing. And a UV is a little more sensitive to that than your fiber lasers. I guess maybe that's because the beam itself. Hey, you have a good night, man. I'll talk to you later.